Hey everyone, my name is Alexandra and I am a watercolor artist. Welcome to part 2 of this year's Cozy Christmas Cards in Under 10 Minutes. Today we are going to be painting an adorable watercolor snowman. Let's get started. For supplies today, you guys will need 2 cups of water. I have one for clean, one for dirty water. A napkin for drying your paintbrushes. For paintbrushes today, I have Princeton rounds, numbers 2, 6, and 8. Paper, I have 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. And lastly, for paints, I'm using a combination of Winsor & Newton's series 2 and 3 watercolor paints, but you guys are welcome to use any colors you want for your snowman. So the first thing that I'm going to have you guys do is grab a pencil and we're going to draw with really light lines 2 circles just to have kind of our base for our snowman. So I'm drawing a bigger circle on the bottom and a smaller one on the top. And you're keeping your pencil lines super light just because once we paint over them, they're hard to erase. So we just want to make sure that they're not too dark and stand out once we're starting to paint. So once you guys have done that, you're gonna grab your number 8 paintbrush. And for this part, we want to go into one of our paint colors. I'm gonna go for a gray, and this is the easiest way that we'll be able to get our white snowman to kind of show through. So with my gray paint, I'm just getting it onto my brush. I have it super watered down, and I'm just gonna jump right into painting my snowman. So the idea is I'm painting it along the edge of my circle here, and I'm just going to start with my bottom circle, and then I'm going to go in and I'm actually just going to fill that circle with water, and we're going to use a bit of a wet on wet technique here, which is super easy to do for these, but it just means we have to be very intentional with where we're placing our paint. So I'm just making sure that my water is nice and saturated but not dripping. And now that I've done that, I'm gonna go, so I have a bit more control in with my number 6 brush, and I'm gonna go back into this gray that I've mixed. So now I can go back into my snowman, and I'm just gonna go on this bottom corner here, and I'm adding that color in, and you'll see how it sort of just bleeds into the circle that I have there. And now I can do the same thing a little bit on the other side and possibly a little bit towards the top as well, just with the idea that I'm leaving enough white space so that our snowman has that 3D look. So now I can stick with my number 6 brush, and I'm doing the exact same thing on my top circle here. So I'm getting it nice and wet. And then going in with that sort of gray color that I've made and just adding some shading to either side. If it seems too dark, then you're welcome to go back in with your paintbrush and just blend it out a little bit. We're gonna add more things to our snowman, so it's okay if it's not perfect. But already you can see I sort of have my shape now. While I have this paint mixed, I'm actually gonna go ahead too and just do a line across the bottom, just to look sort of like our snow line here. I can kind of fade it out as I go down. You'll find if you use gray with a bit more of an undertone that's blue, it'll look a little bit more natural for our snow. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can go into adding our details in our snowman. Because my circle is still wet, I want to be careful to not paint on that quite yet, otherwise I'm going to find that the paint starts to run. So the first thing that we're going to do is go into a brown paint, and we will paint our snowman's arms. So I'm just mixing my paint to make it a little bit more of a darker brown here. And for the arms, the idea is that it's just sticks for arms, so you guys can paint them however you want. I'm gonna do one sticking out to the side here, And I can just paint it, little branches coming off. And then the other one, I'm gonna have it sort of sticking out from the back. We want to make the snowman really cute, really fun, so we can keep it nice and playful. And now I'm going to go in to some of my orange paint here, and we can go ahead and paint our nose. So for the nose, I'm going to start on the face here. I'm going to have it pointing out towards the left, and just doing a very simple carrot nose. So essentially what I have is a kind of sideways triangle, rounding it a little bit at the end, and once it dries we'll add a little bit more detail to it. But I can now go in and paint my mouth right below, so I'm sticking with my small brush here, going into this sort of black paint that I have mixed, and we can do little circles just to make our snowman's mouth. I'm gonna go in a little bit of a smile, and then I can add in the eyes right away. And while I'm using this paint, I can actually jump right in and do some buttons going down as well. Now the next thing that I like to add to my snowmans is a hat. So I'm gonna switch to my number 6 brush, and I think I'm gonna go with a red hat for this snowman. So to start, going across the top of his head, I'm just gonna paint really loose kind of rectangle shape. And I want to do a matching scarf for my snowman. So with that same color red, I can actually go in and sort of follow the same idea. Paint a scarf around his neck here. And then we'll have the long part of the scarf hanging down. Now just to really stick with my Christmassy theme here, I'm actually gonna paint the top of the hat a green color. So we're gonna go sort of with this foresty green here. And I'm adding sort of a half circle shape to the top. I just wanna be careful so that the colors don't mix. It's okay if they mix a little bit together. So we're gonna add the shape to the top, and then once that dries just a little bit more, we'll add a red pom-pom on top of it. Okay, so we have about a minute left, so we're gonna go in really quick with some details, and then our snowman will be all done. So with my red, I'm actually just gonna go into my carrot nose and add some little lines across to give it a touch more detail. And at the top of my hat here, I can add little pom-poms. So essentially you're just painting lines in a circle. And then I'll do some lines down my hat to add some texture. And then the last thing that we're gonna do to just really tie together our snowman is add some tassels to the scarf. So I'm gonna go back into this foresty green color that I have and just paint some really little lines coming down from the scarf so that it looks like there's some tassels there. All right, and that is it for our watercolor snowman in under 10 minutes. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you followed along, please do share it with me. Tag me on Instagram at Alexandra Victoria Studio. I love to see what you guys are creating. Also, if there's anything else that you guys would like to learn, then leave a comment below and let me know. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time.